All right, it is now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 120. So there's once again no changes to the intro. Hearing is still October 6th, so I guess we're counting down to that. That's just over a month and a week away. And today we'll be continuing on working toward the goal of getting to the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game, which is mostly for performance improvements and fixing correctness issues with the screen rendering. And throughout the days, I've been working on another long form video. I'm still working on that one diagram. It's a graphic with lots of details on it. And I would say I am 85 to 90% done work on that diagram. So for the remaining work on the terminal block mining game, so yesterday I figured out a bit about why that player not clearing bug is happening. It's because there's in the updated model for layer merging, there's currently no way to actually force like to merge down a clearing. So I'll probably just, I guess, implement a method to directly clear a portion of a layer. Because that's not, well, for now it's not something I need to do super often. Yeah. Fix background randomly. Oh yeah, so I determined that's actually probably kind of related. Actually, for this, I think I'll fix that with along with some other changes. So the fix to this, I think will relate to this, because I'm gonna have to make some updates to the backing for the screen buffers. And I'm pretty sure I also have a bug related to how multi-column characters are set up when printing in the Y direction. So I'll fix that. That'll be necessary. So this flag for support for compatibility for fixed width mode, I kind of just made a brief change to see how difficult that would be, and this manifested it as an issue. So I think I assume once I fix that bug, this will be possible. I'll have to add maybe I'll break that down into components. So there's and see, I'll call it compatibility with. So those are 3 items that I'll need to finish to make that work. And theoretically, I won't know it until I try it, that might make it work in basically all those terminals with like weird buggy issues. That might fix it in all of them. And actually, I briefly ran it in a profiler today to figure out where some of the lag is coming from, and I think I can fix some of that. And that, oops. That last item is actually these things. Yeah, so these items, once those are done, then I think I'll be ready for the next release. Orthoplex 64, how's it going? Yoshikaga Kira, how's it going? So let's get started. So to change things up a little bit, so people are constantly asking me to try using AI. What do you think about AI? So I actually, because it's built into the repo now on GitHub, I can just go there and ask. I can ask questions. So I kind of cheated for this one in that I did some. So I ran the profiler, and I found there's one specific function that is responsible for like 90% of the slowdown right now. And so I just asked, what is it? Copilot. I said, the game is slow when I move around. Tell me which part of the code I should optimize first. Based on a semantic analysis of your code, when you move around, performance bottleneck is most likely within methods responsible for updating the map area and loading blocks. So it's, honestly, it's impressive that AI can do this, because it's better than just like, I don't know, trying to grab the code or something. Most critical area, so it identifies this file, key methods, update player. So this is one of the areas that could be. I'd say it's not actually correct in here, because the problematic method is actually in the layer merging. Specifically, it's the merge down function, and I traced it down. It's in calculate occlusions, and there's one specific method to find the previous closest character that is like 90% of the CPU time. So that's what I may actually work on tonight. Heavily involved. Yeah, I mean, it's saying stuff that's not wrong. This here also is a potential target for optimization. It's not the most important one at the moment. That's why I really like when I said before about like how AI has not yet even attempted to replace programmers, because to actually answer this question, like how do I fix the lag, I have to run it in the profiler, and then I just look at what the profiler tells me, and this is like, it's just predicting tokens. It's not actually doing the work of empirically testing what is the slowest running method. And the question is, could an AI do that in the future? Sure. But right now it doesn't, it's not that it does it poorly, it doesn't even make an attempt to do it. And it's kind of, it's kind of hedging its bets. Like, if this is not optimized, it can be a major source of lag. And then I kind of gave it a bit more target. So I just said like what can I do to optimize the merge down function. And once again, it's like, it's not wrong, but it's like, it kind of reminds me of like the questions, the answers students would write on exams when the student had no idea how to solve the problem. They would just like regurgitate definitions. Parallelization, code complexity reduction, short circuit logic. Yeah, I mean, that's like a micro optimization, but it's kind of misses the mark. It's kind of weak, very anemic on solutions. And then I decided to go a bit more targeted. Give me an example of a small code. I was kind of hoping for just like a simplification. I guess I could try rewording this prompt. Because the function is kind of crazy, and I could probably move around some of the statements. Example of a small code refactoring change I could do to make the calculated occlusions function more readable, possibly faster and more efficient. And this is Copilot. So I clicked the button in on GitHub for Copilot, and so it has the context of the repo. And so it gave refactoring example, extract complex conditionals, introduce helper methods. That is one solution, but it's also kind of a kind of a cheap shot. And that the way I refactor some of this stuff, usually I'll actually try to like unroll some of the functions and put them into like one big giant code blob, and then I can take the code blob and like rearrange it and make certain things more like actually repetitive and maybe more verbose, but then out of that you get like patterns, and so then you can kind of refactor it into like a more general thing, so that you end up with like just one really tight loop instead of a whole bunch of like 50 different functions, and then the functions don't even need to exist. So I guess this is kind of one like junior change that it could make. So it is kind of reasonable, but at the same time I'd probably want to do these changes myself, just so I don't get them subtly wrong. Yeah, so those were the 3 cases that I tried. And yeah, so interactions like that make me think like, it's not it's fun to play around with, but it doesn't really help me in the coding work that I wanted to accomplish, so I kind of just forget about it. All right, let's test the functionality. So that whenever that red X shows up, that's, I guess, that's wherever there's a null. If there's a cell, a map area cell that's null. So in the previous implementation, when I'd add that and merge it down, it would clear the layer below, but that functionality doesn't exist anymore. Creating unit tests and boilerplate is supposedly one of the more common areas they're good at. Yeah, I guess I could try it for adding some more tests, because I could add maybe. It would be interesting to see what it would do. User UO9WT4ZS3N says hello. How are things? Not too bad. Just grinding away on the latest improvements. Let's make sure the tests all still work. Maybe the first thing I'll do is I'll add that method for clearing a layer. All right, test pass. Xerox Null says what's up? Not too much. Just working away on the block mining simulation game. When do you usually stream? I've been pretty regular. I'm usually about 10 p.m. My time. Eastern Standard Time, I guess. I think that's the right time zone. Want to watch the stream, but I have to sleep. It's 5 a.m. That's past your bedtime. Keep it as background noise. I'll try not to abruptly bump the microphone. It's the weekend, but having fun outside. Oh yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, it's Friday, isn't it? Not you, Rob. Yeah, I assume that's what you meant. Maybe I will. No LSP server. This is wild. Yeah, it's on my to-do list to use one, but I haven't gotten there. So many things to try. I finally tried out AI coding a little bit today. You can skip back in the stream. I did my review of that. Is this C or Java? This is Java. Hope Google and YouTube go bankrupt, says Java. C++ doesn't require knowing that something can throw. Another clue is lack of arrow and string with uppercase. Yeah, I've done enough C and C++ to have formed the opinion that I think it's not the right choice for a project like this. Been a minute since I used C, back in 2022 while doing vulnerability exploitation. Yeah, it's pretty much reserved for low level stuff. If you want to do anything higher level, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to use C. Anything with string manipulation is just subjecting yourself to pain for no reason. What's funny is that back in Turbo C++ era, stdio.h head go to xy, other stuff that is library like the ncurses on Linux does. I still miss it to this day. Oh, for like pixel drawing and stuff. Banned from YouTube for absolutely nothing at all. You got banned, but you're still here. Good luck, guys. I have to sleep. I have a doctor appointment. Wish me luck. Have a good night. I feel like you lost a bit, but basically it was characters. I feel like I lost a bit, but it was character drawing, console graphics, and like library. Like if you wanted to put a character on line 20, row 3, you do go to 23. So if you wanted to make a game, it's just a matter of having code like that, putting characters all of our precise coordinates in the main loop. Yep, those are the good old days. I decay what you're doing, but this is fire. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I will. If I liked an alt account of mine, unused for 2 years for scams and deceptive content. Had one private video of a teddy bear lamp. No comments or other stuff. I don't know. Who knows what information they're digesting to come to that conclusion. Libra EXE says, ha 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 ha. If they flag this account, I'm going to be salty. I don't know, maybe they detected suspicious activity on your machine, or if you're compromised or something. Or it can be just random mistakes. I think I've gotten flagged before for I think on Facebook ads, they're like, actually a bunch of times, and then they would disable it, and then I just send an appeal and be like, oh, so we're sorry. We did this. Your account is now active, and they just give no explanation. So we're doing a roguelike, I guess, because of the colored P character. I guess I'll compile it in a second, and we'll see what it looks like. World Domination. I have a video explaining, if you search my channel for my plans for World Domination, I have the full details there. Terminal block mining short is quite excellent. I learned that there's a P command to place blocks. Didn't know that. Yep, it wouldn't be a block mining simulator without the ability to place blocks. Robbie got my vote for world president. Excellent. Obedient cats will get free healthcare. Yeah. Google account 1 says, hey, how's it going? Wasn't breached. Made no sense. Who knows? You can only speculate these days. Could be an algorithm gone rogue. I'm back and just saw an ambulance load up a deceased person 10 minutes ago. Oh, that's not cool. Was that like a crime scene, or like in some medical issue, or what are you building? I'll show you in a second once I compile this. All right, let's see if that, theoretically, I think this is not the greatest approach, but this will be a short-term fix for the map area issue. Let's see. So there's currently a bug in the layer merging. So the thing I just coded worked, because it's not putting those red X's anymore. But I have to figure out that should be setting a change flag. It's a feature. It's not a very good feature. Two buddies doing recreational activities under a tree. What is 108? What's that in Celsius? 290 gigs left on my SSD. Never buy Kingston. Does it have a, is it failing or? $290 gigs. I guess storage capacity doesn't really relate to the brand or the reliability. 42.7. That's pretty warm. That's not very good weather to do recreational activities under a tree. Failing badly? Apparently no issue. I have to haul my PC across Sydney to shop where I bought it. Yeah, I think when those are manufactured, there's basically like a when they set up the firmware, they can just specify like how many bits per cell they want to store. So if you want to have very high capacity but low signal to noise ratio, you just store as much as possible in really weak cells. And if you want to kind of push the envelope, I think it's easy for the manufacturer to double the capacity of it, but it just means that every bit has like half as much confidence, and it's like you're exponentially pulling it towards the failure point. And sometimes they push it too far, and it if their estimates are off, then the whole thing is basically unusable. Look, I found out before it failed. You gotta have lots of backups. Have a 3-to-1 solution. And you can also install Smart CTL, and you'll get it'll start like monitoring. You should just get like random notifications through where your distro would notify you. So it'll, I've had that installed before, and it would say like, there was a pending sector detected, and you'll be like, pending sector. And then when you start looking into it, you realize that you should back your stuff up. Yeah, I think it's just like sudo apt get install smartmon tools, and then you'll see error messages that show up in varlog kern, and I think in Ubuntu, like the notifications that come up at the top, I think some of them will show up there, and you can also just every once in a while just check the logs. I think you could also configure it to send an email or something, but That's more work. So I think this is working. But should use a double buffer. I mean, I have so many buffers already. It's already, there basically is a double buffer. Let's see, there's at least 3 different buffers. There's a per layer buffer in each thread, and then when the thread is done writing to the local buffer, it commits that to the console writer thread, which is all the frames talk to that thread or that data structure, and then it writes the coordinate spawning updates to all the layers, and then it merges together the final sum of that, and then whatever the differences are, that gets printed. This like erase characters is not a really great thing, but I just want to do the simplest thing that'll get me to the next milestone. You know what? This is a significant design flaw. Because even if I clear it from the local layer, those changes don't propagate to the main writing thread. Oh man, I'm gonna have to think about this. Well, I'll think about that. You know what? I don't like that code. I'm gonna delete it all. So the next thing I was thinking about was the calculate occlusions function. So I said before that I was asking AI about how to optimize this function, and when I tested the benchmark, or when I tested it in the profiler, this here function, get next character start to left, that was accounting for like 90% of the CPU time. So I have reason to believe that if I get rid of that, look at what I'm doing here is just, I don't know, it's what when you don't have the solution fleshed out, it's amazing what convoluted solutions you come up with. This whole thing, I think it should just be pre-calculated. But if I can get rid of that, that'll probably substantially improve the performance. According to Cloud, the most likely cause is the calculate occlusions function, or usage of it at int rightward the most likely cause of what, given what specifications. I asked, if you go back to the earlier in this stream, I asked, was it, I forget, I keep forgetting the name of all these stupid AIs. It's Copilot, the one that's in GitHub. I asked it, like, in the context of my repo, what it thought. I asked it a few kind of, like, I already knew what the answer was from profiling it, and I just asked it like some vague questions about like how to speed it up and how would I improve this function, and I don't know, the answers it gave were like support my. I think the AI would be really good, a good guide for noobs, and especially if you have no idea where to start. But there's just so many situations where you want it to give you something specific and it just doesn't. Looking more carefully at the code, I can identify the most likely culprit, the exact line causing the character trail issue. It's likely to merge down around 46,495. The line numbers would be off a bit, but for I was complaining about this line. My line numbers. That's quite a bit different than that line number. I don't think there's. I've added 100 lines tonight, but yeah. So I was talking about optimizations to make it faster. I'm not sure what prompt you gave it, but the most likely culprit, the exact line causing the character trail issue. I don't know what trail issue that would be. And so that line is specifically there to clear the change flag. So it doesn't try and print the character again. So it's like clearing the flag. Are you accepting issues? I found a bug. Would you like me to open an issue? If you want, most likely I probably already know that issue, or maybe I've already fixed it. And there's a bunch of. I guess it also depends which version you tried. If you tried the release version, I think the last release version should be working pretty well. So there might be a novel issue in that. But if you cloned like the latest that I pushed yesterday, then that's full of bugs. Raising Domination for world funds. I could try that. If the raising funds for world domination doesn't work out, I can always reverse it. Maybe off a bit, since I'm using what is push the repo. Yeah, it shouldn't be that much different. I don't think I've. Well, let me diff it. Yeah, that's what's different. Yeah, so that's what's on the repo. So there's only like, it should only be off by like 6. $494. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's maybe a very different version you're looking at, but there's no actually let me go down here. So I recognized that line because this is a very important thing for optimization. I'm curious what your prompt was to get that. Okay, I'm searching, so that was what's in the prompt. And that this here, it must be referring to that line. What was the prompt that you gave it? Yeah, there's only one instance of that, so it must be this. He called it that line 494, but this is line 653. So either it's looking at a very different version of the code, or it's just like totally off in the line numbers. What is causing the character to have a trail behind? Okay, in this file. Oh, okay. I mean, technically, well, no, I wouldn't exactly blame it. See, the core issue is I have a design flaw where when I make updates to a layer, if the update is to remove, so what I've been using is like, if there's a place in the, like a array, the screen layer that has the characters as null and it's with 0, that's basically treated as transparency. But I don't have any way, I just, oversight, I didn't think of a way in this merging down process to basically clear, have a way to signal that I want to merge down clearing that cell so that no matter what happens, it'll, the result at the bottom will have nothing in it. And the problem is, even though with that clear function I added, I can clear it in the current thread, but then when it propagates that difference of the null character to the other thread and merges that down, that doesn't clear it because null means transparency. So it still just keeps the old version of what it had. So I'll have to think about some logical way to account for that case. Are you currently unemployed? Do you have a contract right now? Technically, I still have the contract with my last client still active, although he has not. I guess it's probably coming up on about a year now that he last asked me to do work. So, and this year, it's been the first year that YouTube has become my biggest source of revenue. So, for legal purposes, from a legal definition, I am employed by my business, which more recently derives revenue from YouTube. Claims the following: the old character positions never get marked as changed equals true. To trigger a redraw with empty background content, so they persist visually. The issue is in the timing and scope of when these change flags are cleared. They're being cleared too early or without ensuring the canvas is properly invalidated to overwrite the old content. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a perfect example of where like AI coding totally breaks down, and where like for this, like you could imagine a noob trying to solve this problem by like using that, by just like trusting that and be like, yeah, that's what the problem is, and spending like hours making like frantic coding changes and getting stuck in circles. I'm gonna stop copying and pasting now. Feel like spammer. Yeah, I think that's enough. This was an interesting, insightful exchange, but at this point, it's I don't know. I've played around with enough with the AI coding, and it's definitely not a breakthrough. I do think there's certain categories of programming problems where I do think it could really have a really killer use case, like probably for test generation. But like a lot of the like most of the main work that I'm doing on stream during these evenings, this is work that cannot really be replaced by an AI. There are some cases where like I maybe take a bit too much time to like copy paste some code around, or like I'll start a new class by copying and pasting an old class and then modifying it, and the AI could probably do that faster than when I'm doing it manually. But these like fixing these deep intrinsic bugs, it's just, you know, it simply doesn't do them. It just gives you gibberish. Maybe takes its lead. And at 20 millisecond delay as a test. Take its lead. I don't know what you're. Are you really suggesting adding a delay? Because that's definitely not the. I know what the issue is. It's a design flaw in the model I have for. Basically, as the character is moving on its own separate layer, so it starts off with all transparency, and then as it moves across it, it's writing the character emoji to those spaces, and then that gets propagated out to the writing thread, and the writing thread's a local saved representation of that layer, keeps that character in there, and there's no mechanism to clear it in the other thread, because when I set it back to transparency in the frame local thread, when I send that change off, and do the merge down, the result of merging a null character onto like a solid character is just, it gives you the solid character, so it doesn't clear what's below it, because that was the whole point of it being representing transparency, which is, I have to think about how I want to do that correctly. Okay, I was in the middle of this thing. Pre-processing layer. It has to do like potentially a large number of updates in real time as fast as possible, and find the minimum number of layers of layer updates, and it has to communicate that between threads and figure out the frame displacement and stuff. I can do it. I think I just need a way of, like, when I update a layer, of having a clear signal to clear that position, and then make sure that gets propagated to the other thread. I'll think about it. Because the same issue occurs also with the help menu. Yeah, I get so confused with thousands of lines for context. It truly doesn't understand what it's saying. Job security secured. Yeah, I think it's I do think it's like it's not good enough that it's going to replace us in day-to-day tasks now, but it's so good that I feel like you can't ignore it. Like it's sneakily close to the right answer sometimes. And because like it's AI, so it can just run, like if Microsoft wanted to direct their full resources of this thing, I wonder, like if they could just brute force the question, like if they have this like new chain of thought reasoning mode, what would happen if you took like an entire Microsoft scale cluster computer and used let it go wild with the chain of thought reasoning and try like basically just kind of like grind through the solution space? Would it eventually like figure out, like maybe it would rewrite the code like 1 trillion times using a cluster somewhere, but eventually it might actually get close to the right answer. Especially if it can become smart enough to do like basic experiments. Because where it does really seem to get impressed is like it can respond to feedback. So if you tell it, nope, that's wrong, here's the output from what you told me to do, it'll be like, yes, you're right, that's because of this thing and that thing. Should also make needle and haystack function with steps to avoid writing the same iterative loops. A needle and haystack function. I'm not familiar with that pattern. Yeah, this is just I want to get this done instead of stop refactoring things. So I think I can make this thing work. I think I can code this up quickly just to fix that performance issue, and then I can move on. And this whole thing is a monstrosity. It uses way more memory than it needs to. So ideally it should be all refactored, but I gotta prioritize progress. Needle and haystack is like scanning x1, x2. Maybe I'd have to see what that pattern looks like. Essentially what you're doing in those loops, except you're doing y then x. Oh, you mean swap like that? The loop order matters for some of this. I mean, part of refactoring this would involve like, because some of this involves like referencing. It's almost what it's kind of doing here is almost doing like a dynamic programming thing, like going through these multi-dimensional arrays and using stuff from other parts of it to communicate state between the loop iterations, which is not ideal and can be simplified, but if I sit down and think about it a lot, then I can simplify it. Actually, just doing this here will probably, that'll let me delete some code. Make it a Boolean function, so you can do for our last position equals get position. Okay, so is it like so it's just like a one level loop, and you're like get position returns basically like a tuple or something? I'm sure they've tried releasing clusters to big code spaces and come out with gobbledygook. I see people using AI to program or to make small scale apps where the bugs become too big to fix. Yeah, I mean, it is. I think our jobs are safe for now, but at the same time, it's still like it's so good that it's like it seems like the kind of thing that will be like, this is garbage, it's never going to work. But then they are like for sure, this is not going to go away. Like, people are going to keep refining these models and improving them, and like every year it'll get like a little bit better. And actually, I think the next layer of learning is actually going to come from the conversations. I think it might improve faster than you think, because what is going to happen is, like, for experienced programmers like us, when we try it, it's just garbage. But this opens up programming, so like the possibility of writing some code that, like, calculates 1 + 1 = 2, to like the number of the total addressable market for writing Hello World programs has expanded by like 100 or 1,000 times. So like, people who are grandmas can ask their phone, like, they can just say like, hey ChatGPT, what's the code for this? And I think the conversations that people have will be fed into the next generation of this stuff. And that's going to be the next on top of layer of learning. Because when you have a conversation with ChatGPT, you say like, find the bug in this code, and you're like, no, you're totally wrong. You can just take that and feed that back in as input into the next model training session. And if you have like 1 billion of those, then you would probably start learning some higher order stuff about how to generate the right prompt, or the right return, generate the right outputs. Now, I'm not sure if this will work, but I have some really robust test cases that I can use now. So this whole thing will go away. So it's a bit less complicated. All right, I'm off. Have a good night. Hello, Robert Elder. How's it going? I'm pretty good. Making a bit of progress. Right now I'm working on I think I have a way to there was just one simple function call in my new layer merging algorithm that was making it slow. So I'm working on fixing that. It's just involves pre-calculating a data structure for the placement of character widths. So I have to do a pass from the right to left and then left to right. But it's also complicated by the fact that there's multiple layers with arbitrary offsets, and the layers can have arbitrary widths. So this code is kind of ugly, but if I can get it to work, then I might be able to simplify it. Sounds complicated. Yeah, it's unfortunately it's becoming more complicated. At least I have the test cases, so that allows me to kind of turn my brain off. Sure, get it working. Yep, I just gotta grind away at it. The list of things I want to get for the next release is getting shorter, so I'll get there sooner or later. Oh boy, this might work. Actually, wow, I think this actually just does exactly what I want. And it looks like it's not lagging like crazy. Oh, that's still lagging pretty bad. but at least the map areas. This is much more palatable. I was kind of worried about. I spent so much time working on that fancy layer merging function. And there was a point where I was like, I hope I haven't like made a mistake and there's a design flaw in it. It's going to make me have to scrap it. But it seems to work, basically. And it's possible for it to work without being insanely slow. So the advantage of it is I should be able to it probably won't even I can't even illustrate the difference that well on this because these things count as one column width, but on my other machine when I run this, if I move, one of the hard to fix issues was when I move this around, if the menu partially cut off a 2-column character, there would be like messed up characters in there. And there's another feature I want to add for specifying like a compatibility width. And the goal of that will be to fix some of the remaining like display issues that happen on weird terminals that don't represent emojis very well. Okay, that's an improvement, but will it pass? Will it pass the tests? Theoretically, this should be exactly the same. That looks pretty good. I think it's going to pass. Speed difference is noticeable. It isn't in the I guess if you would notice it, it's in the movement, and not necessarily in the. I think probably the test cases probably aren't significant. Actually, I think I was thinking about why exactly that this was so slow, and I think the reason for it. I didn't think about this when I wrote it, but what it does is it says. Basically trying to scan right to left, right to left, looking for the first non-zero character width that's indicated. Because for a multi-column, for a single column character, it's just the width, the character width is just 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. But if you encounter a two-column character, it goes 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Now, when you have a transparency layer, everything is just 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. And so what it's doing is it's scanning over to left to find a non-zero character width. But if there's transparency, what it will do is for every character it's starting, and then so it'll scan from 0 to 0, from 1 to 0, from there, and so it's basically, as you get across the screen, it's scanning across the entire screen for every single character when there's transparency in one of the layers. And so I think that was why the runtime for it was so terrible. So the solution is just do the scan once and calculate it that way. But if you are noticing the difference, it's on just normal navigation of the map area, which is actually, I think ironically, the version that released before the last one was I think much faster, because I had a pretty basic. I had one tiny little layer merging function, but it was absolutely filled with bugs and didn't support so many cases. See if that slows it down dramatically. You know what, let's even test the output. guess that does slow it down noticeably. Alright, I won't keep that. That's spelled right. Compatibility. I think it's spelled right. Thank you for the stream. Glad to see progress. Very inspiring. Thank you. I'm glad you consider this progress. I kind of feel like I've been spinning my wheels for the last 40 days. I don't have there's not a lot of visual stuff to show for what I have, but I promise you it's more robust and correct. It's a bit closer to like a more general framework for like rendering terminal stuff. See ya. Have a good night. Buenas noches. Does that mean good night? Chart going up. Nice. That's what I like to see. Now you know how my day went. How was yours? That's good. Your stocks went up. I had a productive day. It's pretty. Every day I'm grinding away at things. I'm working on a graphic for a new video. And on that, I feel like I've been grinding away, trying to get the next release of this game out forever. And also, I've spent at least 1 week working on a graphic that is going to be probably a significant focus of the next video. To try and, it's got a whole bunch of information in it, so, and I had to do some research for it. I am about 90% done. And then after that, I'm gonna have to go back to script but I don't know, it's coming along. This used to work at some point. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's about people asked for a video about the entrepreneurship aspect, so it may be more relevant to the business interested people. I remember looking this up, and there's like there's like 4 different conventions. There's for specifying arguments in the VM options here, and it depends on like the version and stuff, like single quotes, double quotes. I wonder if it maybe broke when I upgraded to Java 21. Oh, did that work? Maybe? No. Nope. I remember Googling this before, and there was like one option allowed you to specify with single quotes, one was with double quotes. I installed Java SDK a couple days ago. Refamiliarize myself. It's been so long since I compiled Java. We'll call it a C native function. 10 years, that's a while. There's been a bunch of new Java versions since then. It's so bright it hurts my eyes. Come on, Google. You know there's results. Oh yeah, this was it. Sometimes it requires a comma. Some versions require space. Spring Boot 2.2. What version am I on? Spring Boot 2.7. So I would think I'm on this. But it doesn't work. Spring-boot.run.arguments. It looks like it's right, but it doesn't work. Maybe it was my... If it had a mismatched quote. Hope you have a good night and a good weekend, Big Dog. Thank you. B Stoker 9468. Nope, still doesn't work. I don't understand this. This used this used to work. This thing must have like auto-updated itself or something. Or maybe it's when I changed my I think I might have updated the Spring version at one point. Let's try commas. this person is saying to do the opposite. Nope, that also doesn't work. In argument 4. Do I have a bug in my argument parsing thing? White space and double quotes, but that doesn't work. Alright, I guess that'll have to remain a mystery for tonight. I made some progress tonight. Fixed the performance issue. And I guess I'll think about how to resolve that design flaw about merging down transparency. And I guess we'll pick it up again tomorrow night for day 121. Alright, have a good night, guys.